Well, a good Wednesday afternoon to you. It's Dan. I want to welcome everyone to my home in the sticks. I hope everybody's having a show enough good hump day. But I'm here to tell you, in East Central Mississippi, it is hot. I mean, show enough hot. It's about 1800 hours Central Time, and it is 98 degrees out here with 100% humidity. Before we get started on today's video, I'm always going to say that if you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you. And if you're returning just to see what old Dan's got going on over here, I sure enough thank you for coming back. But what I want to share with you and y'all today is I got my generator wired up to run my shop in the case of emergency, snow, hail, something. So give me a second and I'm finna show you. All right, my little disclaimer before we go on in this video, just to be perfectly clear that I am not an electrician, powerologist, or anything like that. I'm just an old boy that wants to use his generator to power his shop in the case of an emergency. And during the winter time and now that we're in hurricane season, I'm probably gonna need it. Now what I'm gonna tell you is I started on this project on Sunday, last Sunday. So we're gonna roll into that clip right now. Today is Sunday morning, the August 22nd. Today I'm gonna start, I'm gonna try to put in my switch for my generator so I could hook it into my service panel. I've already taken my service panel, the facing of it off to expose everything. The power is still on right now. We're not sticking our hands in any of this. But once I go to working on this, I will shut off that main up there. So this is what I'm working with right now. I've actually peeled back some of the wood to expose the outside or the metal that's on the outside of the shop. That's going to be a different animal. I was thinking I would have more room to mount the box on the outside, but we're going to go at that just a little bit differently. So let me show you the box that I have, and I'll show you the stuff that I actually ordered to actually do this. Okay, this is the Power Inlet Box that I ordered. I ordered all of this stuff off of Amazon. This is a Reliance. This is a 30 amp. This will accept the L14-30 plug that I have. And it is for 125 250 VAC. That's what it looks like. And here is the actual box itself. Let's talk about the wiring that I'm using. I am using 10-3 Romex. 10-3 meaning 3 wires with a ground. Here is the generator cable that I'm using. It's a Champion 25-foot 10 gauge rated for 30 amps, 75 up to 7,500 watts, 250 volts. I am using a Siemens 30 amp 2-pole breaker. So I have 15 foot of this 10-3. Here is the wiring. I hope you can see it. And hopefully I got some help showing up so somebody can hold the camera and I could actually explain this a little bit better. What I'm going to say right off the bat is I am not an electrician. So this is the way that I'm going to do it. You do it, you do your research and do good research on how to wire one of these generator switches up. I don't even know if that's the correct terminology, but yeah. So give me a second. I'm going to show you the wiring. Let's take a better look at this wiring. On this actual plug right here, a W right here. And that is for the white wire right here. Now these other wires, what I did was I grounded the plug to the box itself right here. Hope everybody can see that. Ran my 10-3. I got a lock on there to hold it in place. It's not going anywhere. And I actually grounded my 10-3 to the other side of the lug, grounding lug. And this red and black wire, or black and red wire, it doesn't matter where you put it on this plug. You could put it here or here. It doesn't matter which way you put the red and the black, but it really does matter where you put this white wire. And that is there with the W designation. So the white has to go there. So let's close this guy up. All right, so that's what the box looks like. This is where our cable goes in, or our plug. It's weatherproof. It's got the foaming on the outside. So that's done. So what we got to do now is we have to go take this box outside, figure out where we're gonna install it or mount it on the outside of the building, drill a hole, then we're gonna have to run this 10-3 up into the service panel. So we're gonna figure that out, and then that's what we finna do. All right, we got the box mounted. That's what it looks like. We had to use a little bit of coon-ass engineering. Actually, this was Angel's idea. Box didn't fit in there just right. Wasn't enough room right here and here, so put a piece of 2x4 on there and bolted it onto a big stud, and we mounted the box onto the 2x4, and that's what it's looking like. So what we got to do next is, and Lord of mercy, it is hot out here. What we're gonna do is, not the way that I wanted to do it, but it's just, it is what it is, the way we're gonna have to do it. We got us a little hole right here. We're gonna drill us a hole through the sheet metal, and there's my panel right there, and we're gonna run this 10-3 through that hole, come up and hit the panel, hit the service panel. Is this the way you're supposed to do it? Probably not. That is 10-3 Romex, indoor Romex from what I understand, but it's just the way we got to do it. It's a shop, you know, it is what it is. So once we get to doing that, we'll bring you back. Okay, here we are on Wednesday. I actually finished this install on, I want to say, Monday. So I'm going to show you what I have done, or what I did thus far. We'll check it out. Okay, there is my Reliance box that actually accepts the cable that plugs into that. Electricians, other folks may call it a whip. I just call it a plug to run from here to my generator. And this is how I have it wired in. And here is my 10-3 cable. It's actually running into a piece of PVC, which goes into my shop, up into my service panel. And you're probably gonna hear me say this quite a few times in this video. I'm not an electrician. This is just what I have and what I did. Really wasn't too spiffy on this idea, but the way that the shop is situated, this is the only way that I could do it. Don't really like the idea of having this 10-3 Romex exposed, but it is what it is. So, comes out of the box, into the shop. I got some silicone in there just to cover up this hole so nothing gets in there and into the shop. But that's how I have it wired into the shop, or into my service panel. Let's go inside and we'll take a look at my service panel, and we'll go on from there. Okay, here is my service panel, and here is my 30 amp double pole breaker. As you can see, I have it labeled gen, or generator, just to let me know that this breaker is for the generator, and I have everything else labeled in the shop. Dan, I don't see an interlock system in place on this service panel. That is correct. I do not have an interlock system in place in the event of a power outage. Why? Well, this is all jacked up. But I know, and I'm confident that in the event of a power outage, I know that I need to flip off my main, because I sure enough don't want to backfeed that line and possibly injure a linesman or somebody that's working on the power lines. So no, I don't have an interlock system in place as of yet. Now what you'll notice is in this video, you do not see any wiring of that breaker in that service panel in my shop, and I did that on purpose. Let's go outside and I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, Dan, why didn't you show the wiring of the 30 amp breaker? Well, I'm gonna tell you, once I took that service panel off and I looked at all the wiring that was installed prior to me doing what I did, I'm gonna say it was done the cheapest way possible. My shop is maybe 25 years old, and I learned very quickly that the folks that did the wiring on the shop, they probably did not do it by code. So I'm not going to show, I did just I was like, I'm not going to show my service panel. It just it's awful, because in my opinion everything works, and this is horrible to say this, nothing has caught a fire in the shop since I've been here, but I can say that it wasn't wired in a manner that it probably should be wired. And again, I'm not an electrician. It's just it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out and say, hey, that should have been done a different way. So I'm not going to include how I wired the 30 amp breaker in the service panel, but for clarity and informational purposes, I will show you how I wired the 10.3 into the 30 amp breaker. Okay, here's my 10.3 Romex. What I did was, here's a 30 amp breaker. This is exactly what's in my service panel right now. Here is a black lead and a red lead. Those two are my hots. Here is my ground and my neutral. And those two went into the grounding bar in the service panel. And that's exactly how it is wired and situated inside that service panel in my shop. Okay, and what I did, once I got that breaker installed, I actually powered it up without being hooked up to the generator or anything like that. Put a voltage meter to it, and it is reading like it should, 120, 120. So, good to go on that. However, what I have not done is load tested the generator. That's going to be for another video. Why, Dan? I just don't have the time. I have so much stuff going on. It'll be another video. And once that video comes up, of course, we will load that generator up. I'm going to show you how I shut everything down on the service panel, and we'll go through the motions there. What I'm doing in essence is actually, in the event of a power outage, of course, we're going to shut off our main, and we are going to backfeed the service panel using the generator, basically. Well, there you have it. That's what I wanted to share with you and y'all today. I have my generator set up to where I could actually backfeed into my service panel and run my shop. So once that time comes, you know I'm going to share it with you and y'all. We're going to get the generator up, hook it up, load it up. I'm going to show you and y'all exactly how I intend on powering the shop when I don't have electricity. So again, I hope everybody's having a show enough good hump day, and I hope everybody stays safe this week amid this crisis that is still going on. If you like this video, go and give it a thumbs up to help. If you haven't subscribed to the Home and Sticks channel, Lord mercy, y'all need to come on over and give old Dan a look, because I'm always doing stuff like trying to power my shop with a generator. That being said, you know it's coming down reference, sure enough, I always gonna say it. Don't let nobody do your shine. Not me, nobody. You sure enough get your shine on, it's important. And Dan will see you and y'all in the next video.